has been a while. I apologize. The lighting from the ceiling has also burnt out, and I've been waiting for my boyfriend to replace it, but it has been 3 weeks, so I finally was like, enough is enough. I'm gonna film anyways. Hopefully you guys can bear with this lighting. It's not the best, but I promise for the next video after this one, the ceiling light will be fixed, and it will just look better. I hope you guys are all well. I have a couple life updates, and this video is really just going to be talking about anxiety, fear, and how to cope with it, how to move on from it, and how to also just kind of embrace it, because it's a part of life, right? You can't really go through life without feeling anxious, nervous, afraid at some point. And these emotions are all very healthy. We've just been taught that they are negative. Anxiety. What is it? When does it happen? And what do we do with it? I have been known to have quite a lot of anxiety spells. They come frequently when I'm stressed out. I think I get stressed first, and then it affects my sleep, and then when I'm not sleeping well, I will be more anxious, and then it's a vicious cycle where it's like the more anxious I get, the less I can sleep, and the less I can sleep, the more anxious I get, and I'm just a very wound up tight ball of anxiety, and it is not pleasant to feel or be around. I tend to withdraw from people. And like the thoughts in my head, they start to not even make sense anymore. They're just these, like, you know, when you have these thoughts that circle around and around in your head, eventually when you get so anxious, they don't make sense anymore, and all they're doing is just winding you up and making you stressed out. So I recently had a lot of things happen to me at life. Everything's thrown at me all at once, and I found myself going through another anxiety spell. The funny thing about anxiety is you almost forget that you've been through this before, and it will pass. You're not your anxiety. Feelings will fade in time, but first you have to kind of get your body back to a normal level where your hormones are not, where your stress hormones aren't just raging throughout your body. So these are just a few tips of what I do. So number one, I journal. I try to get all of those thoughts that don't make sense anymore down. And just when I see them on paper, I kind of make sense of it more. And sometimes they're not really serving me. So I find ways to kind of figure out those thoughts and maybe reframe them in a different way. I journal, and then I try to talk to someone. I mean, some of the times you won't be able to find someone who is willing to listen or deserves to hear your story. So if that doesn't work, then I will often self-soothe by listening to music. Another thing that I learned recently is your body is like, it has all this adrenaline, it's ready to go. So in order for you to kind of go through the stress cycle, you have to let your body kind of like be a warrior, and whether it be exercise or running or anything like that, it's best to get your body moving like it wants to, because it's prepared and primed for it. So once you do that, then your body needs to feel safe. You need to feel safe. So recently what I've gotten into are bath bombs from Lush. They are so good. I just, pop one in the water and then just melt into it for a good half hour. And then like it kind of lowers my heartbeat, it relaxes my muscles. So physically I'm a lot more relaxed, especially after you've exercised. It's a great way to just kind of like soothe and relax your muscles. And after that, you just kind of like journal again. You can kind of unwind, drink some tea. The key is to be good to yourself. I mean, there are so many difficulties in life that we face already. We have to be our best friend. Often more than not, we are so used to being our hardest critic, being hard on ourselves, being our worst enemy. And the thing is, we are we're pretty much like the only person for certain that we will be spending for the rest of our lives. And if we're not our like own strongest self advocate or strongest ally, then what's the point? It's all gonna crumble from there. So anyways, I hope these tips kind of help. And like, if you're going through a rough time right now and you're feeling a lot of anxiety or fear of the unknown, know that that feeling will pass. Try to write down everything that you're afraid of. Another exercise that I've done recently is to write down your worst case scenario. So the thing that you fear the most, write it down. What's it look like? What does it mean? And then once you've done that, once you've listed all of that, from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very likely to happen, 1 being unlikely, what's the number? What's the scale that it will, all of your like worst case scenarios, everything you've listed will actually happen? And then number 3, if the worst case scenario were to actually happen, what are the steps you're going to take to get yourself out of that? And once you've kind of come up with a solution, it doesn't seem as scary as it once was anymore. Because oftentimes we worry and worry and worry, but we never actually like solve it, and it's just a constant thing that stresses us out. So once you do that, then you can write down like, what's the best case scenario that could happen from all of this? Like, what results are you hoping to achieve by doing something that scares you? One last thing that I'm going to leave with you today is thoughts don't get you anywhere. Worrying doesn't get you anywhere. Worrying is like sitting on a rocking chair. You feel like you're moving, but you're really going nowhere. Oftentimes we're afraid to try for something or to do something or to change our life, like change a habit, because of these self-doubt thoughts that we have. The only thing I can say is courage doesn't come, like you can't wait until you're ready. You may never be ready. The best time is to start now. Engagement meaning putting something into action and really doing something, will inspire courage, not the other way around. Courage doesn't inspire action. You've got to actually do it. Like, what I mean is like make small steps, like the first step, just even taking the first step into like whether it is you want to go back to school for something but you're not sure if it's for you, enroll in that course. Maybe you go to that first day of class and you're like, this isn't for me. Well, you've actually made action and you've done it. So now you can move on to something else instead of wondering always like, oh, what if it doesn't work for me? Like, what's the point? What if I waste my time? Well, guess what? You're wasting your time by thinking about all of that already. Or whether it be like changing careers, like take that course online, pay the $300. Just do it. Like, even if it doesn't actually like lead you to where you're supposed to be on your path of life, you've explored it. And all I can say in life is the only thing worth getting anxious about is living a life full of regrets and not really living at all. This video is kind of all over the place, but basically I wanted to come back to the YouTube community, let you guys know that I'm still live, give you some tips on how to handle anxiety and stress, because we're all human, we all go through it. I did a couple weeks ago. I had to withdraw a bit, put some side projects on hold. I didn't come up with weekly videos for you guys like I promised, but you know what? I'm human and I'm trying, and you know, just keep checking, have your notifications on, subscribe to my channel. I'll be eternally grateful. I make videos about makeup, fashion, advice, heart to hearts, you name it. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so, so much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. But you made it safe. I guess that is our combination. Said you